Today we will discuss about how we can use the data table control in Power Apps. So let's first understand what is this data table control. If you are a developer like .NET developer, then we use a data table control. That is basically you can display a lot of records or a data set, but it will have a header. So header for each field, whatever the column will have in the data table. For example, let's say you have an employee's data where it will be like first name, last name, email ID. So it will have a header for all three columns. So that is what is the data table control, and it is like a gallery control, but the difference is that it will have a header, and also like the gallery control, it will have a selected property. That means once you select an item, you will get that property, and you can also link that property to any other control. Let's say you want to display some values in another form or something, whatever the user select from the data table, you can do that because we have the selected id property. Now what we will do here is I will go to my we'll open the Power Apps. You can see it here. One example I'll do, for example, I'll just click on create. I'll create a blank app here. So you see here data table, and I'll use the tablet layout. On this, what we will do is I will show you how we can first use it. Then I have one example also. I'll show you that, and both the code I will upload so that you can see this code. Now on this, I will search for data table, and you can see here this is the data table control. So by default, you can see here it is asking me for a data source. So whatever the data source you have, you can select it, but let's not go back that one. So you can see here in the items property, right? You can hard code some values into it. For example, I will put a square bracket here, and I will put some values on this. For example, I will put here laptop, and then I will put some values like desktop, and then I will take some values like here, let's say tablet, and I will take the final value which is a smartphone like this, right? So if you can see here, now the items property we have added on this. This have the item property, but what value we are showing here, that we can decide from here in the right side properties. You can see edit fields, and you can say add fields and value. So I'll click on add. Now you see here all these values are there, but the value is coming, right? So maybe you would not like to show this value here, right? So you can see here, so you can change the header text here. How you can do this? You can see here it is coming header text. You can change it. Let's say I will say products, correct? So now you can see here, right? So it becomes products now, the column name. So that's how you can change the column name, and you can display this this simple data table. But there might have been certain scenarios where you want to display it from a SharePoint list. Let's say I'll just quickly add one more screen here. So I will go here, I'll add a blank screen, and on that, if you'll see here, I have a Power Apps training site here. You can see it here, and on this I have an employee contact list is there. So I'll insert a data table here. You can see here I can select it, and it is asking for a data source or connector. You can see it here, right? So you can select SharePoint connector, and you can see here I have a connector here. If you don't have, then you can go here and add. You can see here you can select SharePoint. You can do it from here also, and now you can see here, right? Here SharePoint it is selecting, so you can use this connection. Either way you can use the connection, and then you'll need to provide the URL, or you can select from the recent site. I'll select Power Apps training, and in this case I have the employee contact list. I'll say connect. So now you can see here this is connected. In this case, now if you'll see here, I'm selecting this, and here the employee contacts is their data source, and I can select the data source here. So you can see I selected it. So once selected it, you can see it is coming, right? So you can see like title, email, and mobile number. That's how it is coming. So individually also you can go the header text you want to change. Let's say I'll say employee name, something like this, I can give it, right? So now you can see here employee name changed. Same way you can select it and you can change it. The other thing you can do is you can add and display the values. Let's say I selected something and I selected a record and then I want to display it another form or something. So for this, what you will do here is you can see this is the data table. So for this, what I'll do here is I'll insert a form here. Let's say I will say display form. So you can see here I'll select this display form here and I'll select this employee contact as the data source in this case. Now you can see here so you can see I have just taken it here, right? So on this now you can see it here, the data source is coming as employee contacts. Then I'll go to the item property here, you can see, and I will say data table 2 because our data table name is data table 2 dot selected. Now you can see here the first item is selected, so first item is coming. I will just run it. You can see I selected this 4 item. You can see here it is coming, right? So this way you can select it. So like however you want, you can display this. So this is how you can use a data table control. Now what I'll do here is I'll just save this app and I'll open another app where I have taken how we can bind it from a collection. Go to apps and then I'll go to share with me because so you can see here this is the app which I have created. I'll just run it and I'll show you first. You can see here this is data table and this task ID, task name, assigned to, all these things are there. And I have a create button, so I'll just click on create button. Now you can see here what is happening here is all these items are populating, you can see, right? And then the estimated hours is there, T29 2058, and it is coming as the total hours. And on this if you select something, you can see, right, the task title is populating here. Now let's go back to it. I'll just edit this app now, so I'll show you what exactly. So now if I'll explain you the code, now you can see here this is the screen, and on this there is a there is create button. So what we are doing here is we are creating a collection. Here clear collect is the function that we can use to create a collection. In this case I am creating COL, project task data, and project task management. This is not this is nothing but a SharePoint list. Now look at here, this is the training site, you can see, and this is my list. It has all this column which we saw in the demo, right? So here, and you can see this estimated hours, this is the data. Now on this what we are doing here is now this this screen name, you can see here data table. I have added some label here, the task, and the down one you can see it here, right? When you select something, then it will show the name of the task. So that's the reason we are doing it here, like data table name dot selected and then the task name, which is nothing but the column name. And then we have the button where I have shown in the button we are creating the collection. And then you can see on the label 2, you can see here in this case we have the total estimated hours. And what will be the total estimated hours? There is a sum function and I am taking the collection, and then estimated hours is the column name which it will make the sum. So, and then this is your data table, and the data table items property, as usual we provide the collection project, whichever the project task data, right? So that is what we created. So this is how we can use this data table control. Let me show you another example. In this case, if you'll see here, I'll just run it, and here you see like there is some buttons are there on this. This is a toggle button. Now on the toggle button, if you'll see here, if I'm just selecting it, it is showing sold out, else it is showing that this price is this much. Same way there is a filter data based on the toggle value. So select priority on and off. So basically I'm just doing here, if I'm say on, then it will show the high priority task, else it will show all the tasks, right? So since we are using a data table control, so I thought I'll show you with this how we can use the toggle control. Now if we'll go back to it, now you go to the toggle property. Here you can see here on change it is false, and Now if you'll go to the data table items property, what was previously happening was we were displaying all the items, right? Now here what we are doing is, if the toggle property value, then we are filtering this this whatever the collection we have, in fact the data source, and then based on priority dot value high, right? So that is what we is doing. Else we are displaying the directly we are binding the data source which we are binding, which is ultimately the SharePoint list. So nothing much over here, like data source how will bind, like this thing will do. But what we are extra thing doing is, we are filtering this value based on this toggle property. Same way here also, if you'll go here, now this one, if you'll go, see by default the price is this much, and then you can see here, this is false. So here if you'll see, the color is changing, right? So there's a color property is there. In this you can see here toggle value, if it is true then it will be green, else it will be red. So like this, and then this one we are doing showing and hiding this. So the visible property you can see here, if the toggle one value is true, then it will be visible, else that will be not visible, right? So that's simple. Like I have not used many complex things, but how we can simply use this property, and this all these property are there, just you need to check the values and you need to apply the logic here, right? So this way you can filter even the the data table control also. I hope this will be helpful. I'll see you in the next lecture.